Welcome everyone. So it's actually a time of the year when we are ending end of financial statements. So as always, we are running this webinar so that we can give you like a quick review on how exactly you can run annual statements and send it with these with payments to us. So let's just start with the agenda for today's webinar. So first thing for annual statements is we'll be sending them a PDF with all the donations that they have done for the last financial year. So we'll be creating a letter template, which will be sending them across along with our email. Then we'll set up a campaign where we can link that email template. And then we'll actually start the process of generating annual statements and then sending it out to all the donors. At the end of the session, we'll even have some live question and answers. Feel free to message any questions that you have in chat. Our team will be able to answer those. Some of the questions you might take it to the Q&A session so that we can discuss those in detail. Um, so let's start with the overview of annual statements. We actually use campaigns in order to send annual statements. And the reason why we use campaigns is uh, campaigns is like internal Salesforce object. And basically, you don't have any limits on sending the emails when you're using campaigns. So easily you can send annual statements to like 50,000 or plus without any issues. So that's the main reason why we use campaigns in generating annual statements and sending them across. So in campaigns, as I mentioned, we'll have our annual statement letter, which will be the PDF which gets attached to the email that we sent across. And on for the same campaigns, we have campaign members as well. The campaign members are basically the contacts whom we actually want to generate annual statements and send across. So as you can see, campaign members will have contacts, and when you add the campaign members to a campaign, we can assign like different campaign member statuses as well. And the campaign member status actually determines what stage of annual statements they are currently on. So while generating, it will be a statement generated for them, which will be the status for the contact. If you are already sent the statement, the status can change to statement send or statement download. So that's the reason why we use campaign member statuses. Now, how exactly we look for the donations that they have done in last financial year is we look at all the payment transactions that are linked to that contact, and we try to check all the transactions during that particular time frame, which will be your last year's financial year, and we include those transactions in annual statements. Yeah. So this is basically an overview on how exactly we'll run annual statements. As I mentioned, first thing that we need to do is create like letter template. So basically, we'll create a letter template like this, where we'll have like contact details. Then we'll have like a text, which will talk about basically thanking them for the donation that they have done for last financial year. And then we can attach a list of all the donations that they have done, along with the date, the receipt number, and the total amount. Now, if you see here, I've also added like the header and footer to make it more appealing. And I've even changed the colors for the table. So these are something that we can do on letter template itself. And some of the changes like colors and all, we can do it on the merchant facility itself. Now, there are a couple of articles that we'll share when we send out the recording of the meeting that will actually show you how exactly we make changes here. So without further ado, let's jump into the live demo. So first thing, as I mentioned, we'll be first creating a letter template. So once you're logged into your Salesforce org, I can actually go to the letters tab. And for most of you who are already running annual statements from before, you might already have annual statements letter created last year. You can actually use the same one by just cloning it from here and just update the name and everything. But if in case you want to create a new one, you can even do that. For this instance, I'll just clone this so that I get all the details, everything copied over. So I'll just click on clone here, and a new window should pop up. This is basically the same window that you'll see when you're creating a new letter template as well.
Sorry, Vish. Would you be able to just zoom in, just so?
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you.
Is it okay? All right. Thanks, Cam. Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is the same window that you get when you create like a new letter template as well. So here I can give the name for this. So let's say this will be 2025, 26. Then we have body text. Mostly you have seen only three options here before, which is full, short, and hide. This basically denotes how exactly your letter text will be. So should it occupy the whole page, or should it be like very short? So based on a lot of requests that we got last year, what we have introduced like a new update as well, which is fit to content. What that does is whatever body text that you have, for example, this one, it automatically adjusts the height based on this. So this is helpful when you have like small text and you want to accumulate as much as the transactions that they have in one particular page. So previously what was happening is if you have set this to short or let's say full, the annual statements were going into two-page statements. One will have like all the body text and everything, and then the transactions sometimes used to go to the second page. But using fit to content, you should be able to put everything in one page itself. Now, this is like a recent update that we have done in 11.3. So look out for 11.3 post-update steps in order to bring this on as a pick list option. Your self-admin should be able to help you with that. So we have that body text, which I have set to fit to content. You can have like print line items check as well. Basically what this will do is if in case you have any line items in the payment transaction, we can even include those in statement. So let's say, for example, someone has purchased like a couple of items from your website. You can even include those items in a separate table for um, to include that in annual statements. After that, we have address type. This is basically your mailing address or other address of the donor. So on contact record, you have like mailing address and you have other address. So this specifically tells you which address you want to use. So most of the time they have like a different mailing address. So you can actually select which one you want. If in case you set it to none, it by default goes to the mailing address. So for now, I'll set that to mailing address here. Second, after that, we have primary payment type. Now, this is important in when you're doing annual statements. This should be set to statements as well as the record type. If in case you miss any of these steps, you might run into issues where your annual statements are not running or you're not able to get proper fields in the text and all. So make sure you have primary payment type set to statement as well as the record type set to statement. After that, we have the page size. You can set that to A4 or letter, depending on how exactly, whether you're printing and you have like a letter pages where you'll be printing, or whether it will be A4 sizes. So you can set that. Then we have address intent, which is we set it to 60. Now, this is basically on annual statements. You have their address details in the name, which comes on the top left corner of the statement. So address intent will actually shift that 60 spaces to the right. Now, this is important when you're mailing the annual statements, because most of the time you have that the envelope with the address window. So if you set this to 60, it automatically adjusts the address to show up in that window itself. So it's easy to post them to the donors directly. Then we have the font family. This is limited to the fonts that Salesforce usually provides. So you can select any font that you want, and then you can enter the text that you want in the PDF body. So over here, I just included one merge field and then some text there. Important thing is we have two special fields here which are not available anywhere else. So these are number of payments and the total amount. What happens is it automatically calculates the number of donations that you have done for that particular financial year, and it automatically puts that number here. So it will automatically say that, let's say someone is doing a recurring payment, has done a recurring payment for last year, and they have 12 payments. So it will automatically say that the number of payments is 12, and totaling the amount, let's say if they're donating $10, it will automatically show $120 for the last financial year. Yeah. Similarly, we can update this as well to reflect the correct financial year. And once you're satisfied with everything, we can just click on save. Now, this will automatically generate a new annual statement, and it will be ready for you to use um, in the next step, which is creating campaigns. Now, as I showed previously, you can have like header and footer added. So if you want to use that, you basically add that in notes and attachments. And again, we have an article on how exactly you can add notes, add the header and footer, and the requirements for the dimension of the image as well. In this case, I'll just quickly upload few ones that I have. I'm just selecting two images and uploading it. So you can see that in the name I have letterhead. I just added letterhead twice actually. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so once you have the letterhead, the letter created, now it's time to go ahead and create your campaign, which will be used to generate annual statements. So I'll quickly go to more options and scroll down to campaigns. Now over here, you might even already have like an annual statement created for last year, but you can go ahead and create a new one, or again, clone the existing campaign and use it. For this instance, I will actually go ahead and create a new one. So just create new. When you're creating a new campaign, I'll select the record type of annual statement. Then next. And then you can provide the name for annual statement. So let's say it's 5 and 6. Yeah. A type can be set to conference. That's fine. Status can be set to plan as well. Main thing is like you activate the annual statement. Then you can provide the start date, which will be basically start of financial year for previous month, and end of financial year, which will be end of this month. Then we have save as PDF option. So this basically represents, you get like three options here. One is no email PDF statements, yes, only contacts without email, and yes for all contacts. What this does is once you send out the annual statements, we have a functionality where you can download all the annual statements and save on the campaign record itself. Now, which annual statements needs to be saved on campaign is determined by this particular field. So if I set to no email PDF statements, so what will happen is whoever all the donors who actually have an email address, it will automatically send annual statements to them, but it won't save any copies on the campaign record. If you select yes, only contacts with emails, what it will do is any donors who have email address, it will automatically send an email with annual statements for them. But whoever don't have an email address, if someone hasn't provided email address, it will automatically save the annual statements under the campaign record. This is helpful if in case you want to send them by post. So you can actually go to, instead of going to each and individual donor record, you can actually download everything from the campaign itself and then send it for printing. Then last option is like yes, all contacts. So no matter that the donor has email address or doesn't have email address, it will still go ahead and download all the PDFs for all the campaign members and save it under the campaign. So for this instance, I'll actually use this yes all contact so that we can see all the campaign, all the annual statements for all of them. Then we have statement send run number. This is basically just a field that you can update based on how many times you're actually running that annual statements. So there will be a scenario where you run annual statements for, let's say, 100 donors, but then you realize you need to run for another 2 as well. So you can run the same procedure and you can set that statement run to 2 so that you know how many times you have actually run it. Yeah. After that, we have payment form and statement letter. You can actually skip setting any payment form so that it can look at all the payment transactions. Uh, for statement letter, you can actually search for the letter that you just created, which will be 2526. Now, in this instance, I'll select the old letter because I already have header and footer added there and a couple of changes made in that. So I'll actually select that for this instance, but you can actually select the letter that you actually created just now. Once you select that, you can click on save, and that should actually create a new campaign for you. Yeah. Quickly, you can go to details and have a look at all the details that you have to make sure that those are correct. Now, part of this is to add the users whom you want to send annual statements, right? So there are different ways in which you can add the campaign members. First is like you just click on add contacts and you can select the contacts you want and they will automatically get added. Or what you can do is, which I mostly recommend, is running like a report of all the donors whom you want to include and then include it directly from there. So let's say I already created a report for the contact list whom I want to add them into my annual statements. So I'll actually open that and run that report. And basically that report will be for contacts. And you can see there are 3 records which are there. When I want to add, what I can do is just click on the drop down arrow there and click on add to campaigns. And then you can select the campaign that you just created, which is 2025-26. We'll keep the member status as send and just click on submit. Now, depending on how many records you have in that report, it might take some time to get added. But if you come back to your the annual statements campaign and refresh it, you should be able to see those contacts getting added as campaign members. And you can see here that we have all 3 donors already added. Yeah. So that was the second step of adding the campaign members there into our annual statements. There are other ways as well through which you can add the donors into your campaign members, and we'll go through that after we finish the generation and sending of annual statements. For now, this is basically like getting prepared for your letter template, your campaign. Now, next thing is we'll be generating the annual statements. So once everything is set up, on top right, you'll see a segment generation button. You can actually click on that, and that will open up a new box where it will ask you for a couple of details, and that will generate your annual statements. Now, by default, it will automatically set to your default primary and active merchant facility. But if you want to change that to something else, you can do that. The main thing is like whichever merchant facility you have selected, it will actually use the PDF of colors and everything from that particular merchant facility. So for now, I'll keep that as it is. You can automatically see that it is set to the annual statement campaign itself. Now we have one option here that only include transactions for the selected campaign. If in case this is checked, then only the transactions which are linked to this particular campaign will be added in annual statements. So if you have newly created this campaign, it's best to uncheck that particular option so that you can include the transactions from for all the last years, for all the donations that have been done in last year financial year. If in case you are already assigning a campaign specifically for your recurring payments, then all the payment transactions done will automatically get assigned to that campaign. In that case, you can actually have this option check so that you can only run annual statements for those transactions and exclude all the other ones. But in this case, I'll actually uncheck it because I have a different campaign. Then we have recurring payment only. So if in case I check this option, my annual statements will only run and include transactions which are part of recurring payment. So in this case, because I'm not sending any receipts for uh, payments that have been done through recurring payment, I'll actually focus only on those transactions. But if in case you want to include all the transactions that you have done, no matter it's related to recurring payments or not, you can actually uncheck that option as well. Then we have header to appear on statement. So on statement, you'll have a header which will say annual statements. If you want to change that, you can add something else as well. Yeah. Then we have generate for all campaign members. So remember, we added like 3 campaign members. If you have this check, it will automatically generate for all the 3 members. Now, remember I explained you a scenario where you might miss a couple of members and you want to re-add them. So if you already generated annual statements and you're adding those members later, next time when you run, you can actually uncheck that this checkbox. And what it will do is for the members whom you already generated annual statements, it will basically skip those and only generate annual statements for the newly added campaign members. Yeah, so it's just for that particular thing. Then save to PDF is the same setting that we did on campaign label. So I'm setting that to yes, all contacts so that I can generate PDF statements and attach to this particular campaign. And this is again the statement run. If you're running it for the second time, you can update that to 2. And then we have like start date and end date. So this is basically the filter on how many transactions you want to include, like what's the time frame for the transactions. So in here, I'll actually set that to so it should start 1st July by 2025, and it should end on 36/2026. Oh, sorry, this is changed again. Ah, yeah, 1/7/2025 to 2026. Now you have payment type as well. So all the payment transactions has a record type. We can sorry, payment type. You can actually select which one you want to include. So sometimes you have orders and you have memberships as well, but mostly memberships and orders are not part of like they are like tax deductible, or they are not tax deductible ones. So for this instance, I'll actually use only donations because I want to generate annual statements for only the donation transactions. So I'll just select that and add it. But if you want to generate for all the transactions that they are done, you can actually select all of them and include in the selected payment types. Once you have everything selected, then you can actually click on generate, and that will actually start generating the annual statements for all the campaign members that you added. If you scroll down, and you can actually see the status as well. Depending on how many campaign members you have, it might take some time. But since we have only 3, so it is like very quick, and it's already generated the annual statements. Now to look at the annual statements, I can actually close this window and I can come back to my campaign, and I can actually scroll down to the campaign members. And if I click on the contact record, and if I go to the related list under notes and attachments, I should be able to see the annual statement that was just generated. So if I click on that, you can see the statement generated. Now, um, so this is the annual statement generated for Hermione. You can see that she has made like 12 donations, which is totaling of 360. And these are all the donations for each month that they have done. And it shows the total value as well. Now here, if you can see, we have that header and footer added as well. And if you see the address intent that we set at 60, it automatically moves the address to the right so that this automatically fits in the envelope window, and you can basically send it through Australia Post. You can even add like barcode for Australia Post, so it's easy for them to scan and redirect the emails. Um, so this is basically how you can check the annual statements, because it gets attached to everyone's contact record. But if in case you quickly just want to have a review of how the annual statements are looking, I can actually, from campaign itself, I can actually click on the campaign member. And once you reach to campaign member, I can actually click on this drop down arrow and select annual statement. Now, if in case this button is not available, you can actually just ask your Salesforce admin to add that to your page layout, and you should be able to see that. But once I click on that annual statement, it will actually generate the same annual statement that you saw in a preview mode. So you should be able to see the same statement here. Now, this is the quickest way to verify if the annual statement is looking correct and everything. So if I go back again, now we are done with the third step, which is like generating annual statements. So the last step is actually to send annual statements. So now, before I send annual statements, we actually use a workflow rule that will send annual statements. For anyone who has installed Payments2Us newly, you will automatically have like a flow as well, which is basically the same as workflow. And you can actually start using that for any for older clients who are with Payments2Us for a long time. You also have an option of flows already added to your orgs, but it will be a matter of you going ahead and disabling the workflow and then activating the flows. So you can actually plan that with your Salesforce admin as well if you want to transition into flows. Uh, but I'll just quickly show you the work the email template that's used to send annual statements as well. So if I go to setup and email templates, once I open email templates, you should have a template called mass annual statements with PDF, which is like a Visual Force template. You can actually open the template and edit the template with the wordings that you want by clicking on edit template and changing that. Um, Remember, it's like a Visual Force template, so it's a little different than the normal templates, but it should be like you should be able to edit a couple of things there. Main thing is in Visual Force attachment, you can see that it's automatically adding the annual statement 2026 one. So this is basically like a placeholder.
Sorry, Vish, just one. Could you zoom in again?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So again, coming back to the email templates, because it's like a Visual Force, you will actually have like a template or a placeholder added here. And whenever you actually send annual statements, it automatically adds, like generates a PDF and attaches to that particular email, which you are sending it to users. Once you have the email text already, then you are actually ready for sending those annual statements through email. So now you can come back to your campaign, and we already did a statement generation. So now we'll actually do a statement send. One more thing that you can see here is if I scroll down under campaign members, I can actually see the status as well. So currently it's saying that statement is generated because we already generated the statement. Now, since we want to send it, I'll just click on statement send, and everything will be same from the previous one. So I'll just click on process. Yeah. Now, what will happen is it will automatically generate the annual statements again, and it will attach to that email and send out the annual statements to all the donors. Once it's complete, I can actually close and come back here. And because we selected download PDFs for all users, you can actually see that the statements are actually added to that campaign as well. So if I actually open any one of them, you should be able to see the annual statement for that. Yeah, same annual statement that we actually have. Now, if you have all the annual statements, or if you save that for anyone who doesn't have email, it will be a job of admin to like download each and every statements. So instead of downloading all individual ones, what we can do is we can add this download PDF component from your page layout. You can, again, your system admin will be able to help you with that. And with this, you can actually select um, all the PDFs to combine together and then download as one PDF. Now it's only showing 1 to 3 because we only have 3, but it actually combines like maximum of 10 statements together, and it will let you download. So you can select different. Let's say if you are 30, you'll actually have like 3 options there: 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and 21 to 30. Now, once you have that, you can just click on download, and it will actually download the annual statement. So if I open that, you should see that the annual statement is downloaded one after another. And this is something that you can just send it for printing so that you can print from your printer, then fold it in and send it through your mail post. Yeah. So this is basically how you'll be actually sending your annual statements. Let's jump back with how you can add contacts to campaign members. As I mentioned, there are different ways to do it. First way is like you just go to that campaign status that you have, campaign annual statement campaign that you have, and under campaign members, you can just click on add contacts, and it will bring up a new box where you can select the existing contacts you have in your Salesforce and just click on add for them, and those will get added automatically. Um, Next option is like from related lists. So this is like if you specifically forgot to add a contact, you can actually go to that contact record, and then from campaign history, you can actually click on add to campaign and then provide the annual statement 2025-6 and then add. That way, that particular contact will automatically get added. Then we even have like if you want to do it in bulk from contact, you can actually go to contact and all or recently view. You can select the contacts that you want to add and then click on add to campaign. That will again add to the campaign. Next is like the report option that we perform. So you just generate a report and then click on the drop down arrow and then add to campaign. That will automatically send all the contacts to the campaign member. Another option is, which most of them don't use, is you go to the campaign and you select import leads and contacts, and then you can add those, or even the data loader option to add campaign members to a specific campaign. So that's the end of our webinar, but I'm happy to take any questions that you have. Rina, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we do have a good question regarding the Australia Post barcode. Is there some introduction on how to add the Australian Post barcode onto the letter?
Yes, that's actually a good question. That's actually a custom work that I have done in my org. So based on, if in case you're using any address finder or data tools to clear or to get like correct address, it automatically sends you an address ID as well, which you can use to generate the Australia barcode. Now, there's some customization if you want. You can reach out to our support, and we can help you with that. Any other question?
Cool. And there's a question from Bronwy. They're saying well, the dollar column is single and they have two separate columns, one for the tax deductible donation and one for the non-tax deductible donations. Currently, these columns don't align correctly with the total amount. Has this been fixed?
So basically, you have tax component and non-taxable component there. If you had those two, those will be actually on those records will be actually on payment transaction itself. And remember, when we are generating the letter, so let's say I basically use this, so I'll go there. If you click on Edit Letter Template Builder, and if you scroll down, this is actually the table that you want. So you can actually change these fields to the tax deductible one and non-tax deductible ones, and those will automatically get added. So currently, I only have these fields, and there is no tax component because it's like donation. So that automatically disappears, and I'm only left with like 4. But if you want to add, you can just click on this plus sign, and then you can add a new one. The important thing over here is the bottom bar, which talks about a percentage. That total should end up like 100, so that it occupies the entire space. If you have that calculated correctly, then it should be fine. Yep. Any other questions, Rina?
I can see Minnie raised their hand just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, we'll skip to another new question from Bronwy. So how about sending statement from the email section from the contact page? Is that option still available?
Yes, that option is still there. So you can actually, so we have two options. The option that I actually showed you currently was sending out bulk annual statements, so for everyone in one go. But if you want to send it for a specific user, you can actually go to that contact record, and you can actually send it from there as well, like a single one. Now, again, when you're doing it for single contact, um, it yeah, it will still use the same email template, so it should be fine. Yeah, but that option is still there. We haven't removed any of those functionality.
So if we still got a little bit time, we also have a question regarding last year, some donors said they never received the email with annual statement. Is there some way to check in Salesforce that the email was sent and maybe just went to their junk folder?
I think it's mostly a system admin question, but if you go to setup, you have email logs there, and you can actually download the email logs for that particular, like the time when you actually send annual statements, and you can search for that particular email. It will automatically give you the reason as well why it failed and all. So you can actually generate request for a log here and do it. Now, we do have a FAQ article on as well in order to check if in case you're not able to send emails. It's mostly due to Salesforce as Enforce having like org-wide email address and your DNS records. So make sure those are actually set up and ready, and then there shouldn't be any issues.
I think James raised his hand. James, if you want, you unmute yourself.
What's
Hey, James, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm just reading his question. It's regarding email template in Classic. So for annual statements, we can't have HTML template. And the reason for this is because you're attaching a PDF to that email statement, we can't um, generate a PDF in runtime with HTML1. So that's the reason why we are still using Visual Force. So, but even in Visual Force, you can actually create the base template in HTML, and you can add that to Visualforce 1, only the top part. It's if you work on it like a little bit, you should be able to update that. The in Visualforce template, there is last part for generation of PDF that should remain as it is, because if you change that, it will basically not generate or not attach the PDF. I think, but any questions that you have, feel free to send us to support at Payments2Us, and our support team will be definitely able to assist you further. Also, anyone who is actually attending Agent Force World Tour, please check us out, as we'll be there as well. We are happy to chat with you and have like a quick catch up there. But other than that, I will be sending you the link for this video as well through email. So feel free to check out the video if in case you have any doubts. We'll be also updating this video on our website under webinars, and we'll be also sending it in our uh, Salesforce group as well. All right. So thanks everyone for joining, and have a nice weekend, and good luck with your annual statements.